Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with our level 35 brute, Quintessence Lass, who has 3.5 million XP earned, just under 250,000 to go to get to the next level. And we have just started a story arc for Antoine Sampson, and I think that's his name, Anton Sampson. And there is the ghost ship. It's one of the zone events that you can get in City of Heroes. Very cool looking. They did a beautiful job on the graphics and video effects in this game. I know I've said that many times, but no matter how long I play this game, I can't help but be amazed. As awesome as it was in 2004 or 5 when this game was at its sort of launch phase, it still amazes me now in 2021, 17 years later, that this game still looks fantastic. Especially the visuals. Like the special effects and stuff just look amazing. So this story is to just find some weapons, because there's a weapon shipment in here that we've been informed about. So find some weapons and defeat the leader, whose name is Lamley. It looks like. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Lamley. Something like that. So it's been a few days since I've done any recording because I was trying to get onto this story arc. Also yesterday I was having a migraine, so I didn't really feel up to playing or recording. I played a little bit on my level 8 character because that's easy. Got her through the Chernobog, whatever his name is, storyline. And as I was playing through it, I thought, I'm playing the character here on the Rebirth server. Maybe I should go back and do Homecoming instead, because at least there's a pretty vibrant market there and it would be easier to get sets. And then I thought, well, first of all, everything's going to be super expensive there because of all the farming that's been going on for like 2 years. And second of all, they do give you faster. You can get sets faster because you can actually trade for them. But the only way to get reward merits, I think, is to do story arcs. I'm not sure if there's any other way to do it. If there is, somebody let me know. At least here you can do the veteran rewards, right? The veteran merits rewards, and you can get reward merits that way, which speeds up the process. So this character has way more reward merits than she would have just from story arcs. And so, yeah, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because you can buy a lot of the sets with reward merits here, and I don't know if you actually can do that easily on Homecoming. I'm going to have to check it. But even if you can buy stuff with reward merits on Homecoming, I don't know how you get them other than doing story arcs. And yeah, doing story arcs is great, but if you go back and watch the Silver Phoenix playthrough, even with the reduced reward merit costs for getting the archetype origin enhancements, I'm fairly sure that Silver Phoenix didn't have her second set until she was in her 40s. And the first set she was in her mid-30s because of just how many story arcs you have to do in order to get those merits. And again, I don't mind doing the story arcs, but I'm not sure it will be any faster to get the ATOs there than here, given that I still have a bunch of reward merits on Tiger Strike, and we can keep getting more reward merits as every week, just as we unlock the sort of veteran reward draws from the card decks, right? I just take the one every single week. I just repeatedly take the one that allows you to draw a deck from the hero and villain card, 2 draws from the hero and villain deck, and the hero and villain deck will have some chance of giving you about 25 reward merits, and occasionally you can get 75. I think possibly 100 even. And so with 2 draws, I think on average I'm getting probably something like on the order of about 50 reward merits per week, give or take, over and above the reward merits that we also get for doing the story arcs. That's probably another 20 or 30. So in a given week, I'm looking at, maybe 70 to 100 reward merits. And in in Homecoming, I'd be looking at maybe 20, right? So I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more and just see what's there. But and if anybody knows if there are other ways besides doing story arcs that you can get reward merits, let me know. Because if not, I'm just not sure that it gains me anything to go to Homecoming. And the disadvantage is a lot fewer names are going to be available there, right? A lot of the names that I'm going to want to take, which may be available here, won't be available there because there are so many more players and so many more characters have been made, right? And I would say that's the one thing that Champions Online did. What is my chance to hit this guy? I have a 75% chance that I'm missing 4 and 5 times in a row. That is ridiculous. 60 to 70% chance that I was missing like, what, 3, 4 times in a row? That's just nuts. Yep, more missing. Let's go ahead and use some yellow. We may as well. As long as we've got plenty of extra, it's fine. And I want to say this is probably this kind of thing. Look at this. With all these missing. Again, 75% chance. You'd never know I had a 75% chance against these guys. I think if you ran the numbers of the last 2 or 3 spawns, it's 50. If I'm lucky, I'm getting 50% that I hit. If that. Maybe less. So yeah, one of the things that this build suffers from is a lack of something like build-up or focus G. Yes, Soul Drain is, I guess, maybe a little better when it's engaged, but it's a very long recharge time, and it also has to hit them in order to work. So this is a 2-hit buff where if you're struggling to hit somebody, I'm trying to get these guys to come together so that I can suck both of their endurances out. Here we go. Let's go. There we go. If you're already struggling to hit these guys, right, and you miss, it's not clear that Soul Drain's going to help you because you might miss with that too. And then you get nothing from it. Focus G is automatic. And other build-ups. So, I mean, I think it's nice that this does an AoE damage, and it can do more than Focus G, I think, if you hit multiple guys. But you also still have to hit with it, which you don't have to do with a build-up or a Focus G. Alright, so these guys are going to be a pain because this guy's going to juice that guy. So I'm going to taunt them over to me. Just because I don't want the buffing to happen from one lieutenant to another, especially going from red to purple. So yeah, I mean, Soul Drain's great. I love this character. I really like Dark Melee. But if I had my druthers, as nice as Soul Drain is, I'd rather have something like a build-up. Something that's more reliable, that's going to work every single time, and is on a quicker recharge. Because Soul Drain right now takes 2 minutes, and on triple recharge it'll get down to 1. Whereas build-up, now it lasts longer, but build-up may only last 10 seconds, but I think I was able to get that down to like just about a 27-second or something recharge time. So I was using it constantly. The other issue, too, is if you're fighting a single guy, look at this, 3, 4 out of 5 misses on a 75% or so chance to hit 6. So we're at, that's about, what is that, 8, 9 out of 12? I'm not a 75% to hit here, I'm at a 75% to miss. Just ridiculous. Um, the other issue with Soul Drain is it's a point blank AoE. It's kind of pointless to use Soul Drain. Oh, the Churlers are not going to come to me. It's kind of pointless to use Soul Drain against a single guy, right? Because it's an AoE. So, I mean, like, that makes it much less worthwhile, again, than Focus Chi, which works fine against a single guy, right? You haven't wasted it using it against one guy. But with Soul Drain, you kind of have. So I feel like as cool as Soul Drain is, for my money, I'd rather have just a regular build-up like Focus Chi for any Scrapper or Brute than something that's going to have to hit and that's going to be inefficient if you do it against a single target. I mean, with all the missing here, what are your chances of hitting on Soul Drain? Now, Soul Drain does have, I think, a better accuracy, right? By base. Where's the base accuracy is 2.04. That's what the enhancer on. I think the base accuracy is 1.2. Yeah, so it does have a slightly higher base accuracy, but that's a base accuracy, not a to-hit, right? There's a difference. Accuracy is what you multiply your to-hit by. So, to-hit is based on your base to hit, 75 for us, plus any to-hit buffs, right? That would be the buff that you get from Soul Drain, minus any to-hit debuffs. That would be something like if you got hit with Dark Melee, minus the enemy's defense, times accuracy. So, for example, we have 75% base to hit. We have no buff. We have no debuff. Let's say their defense is 25. That gives me a 50% base to hit. And then you times the accuracy, right, by 1.2, and it would be 50 times 1.2, which would be like 90%? Something like that. No, 70% to hit. 60. Wait a minute. 2. Yeah, plus 10%. So 60% to hit, right? Hard to do the math while I'm trying to click on things. So the 1.2 accuracy is great, but if you're being floored, right, by a 2-hit debuff, or the guy has a really high defense, right, 1.2 times 10% is only going to get you to 12%, right? And so the accuracy is nice, but what you really need are like the 2-hit buffs, which is what Focus Chi or Build Up provide. And that's what the Soul Drain will provide. But if you've been floored by a 2-hit debuff, Soul Drain's going to miss, right? It's only going to get you from 5 to 6% to hit. And so that to me is an issue, right? It's like you got to take an insight in order to get Soul Drain to hit so that you can get a 2-hit buff. Also, by the way, the minuses off your base to hit that they subtract out include the level. So if it's an extra like -5 per level above you, that comes off the top. So you're 75% base to hit. These guys are +2. That is gonna drop me to 65 base to hit. And then they may or may not have defense. And sometimes the lieutenants have some defense or whatever, the bosses as well. That doesn't include, of course, the resistance. We can take care of that with our Fury, right, doing more damage. But because Soul Drain is adding to that 2-hit part of the equation, but it hits based on its accuracy. If you have a very low chance base to hit, right, that's inside the parentheses, what you're multiplying by is a very tiny number. Soul Drain can be 2 times accuracy. It doesn't matter. You're just multiplying 5% to 10%. It's still a 90% chance you're going to miss with the Soul Drain that is the 2-hit buff that's supposed to help you hit. Now, where's the boss? There he is. He's just a lieutenant. Okay. Well, that's easy enough. Are you going to wake up? He doesn't even know I'm here. I'm like, I'm right in front of you, buddy. By the way, this is why the minus 2-hit buff, right, the 2-hit debuff, is so powerful with this character, or any dark character, because it's not taking away from the accuracy, it's taking away from that expression inside the parentheses. I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment, but let's go ahead and get this, and now we have... Alright, so let me just show you. Let's do an email, and we'll just write an email to ourselves. It doesn't matter. So, so 2-hit, right? Your final 2-hit number is equal to accuracy times the quantity. Your base to hit plus 2-hit buff minus 2-hit debuff minus defense of enemy, right? Minus whatever, let's call it target defense. Right, and then also, I believe, minus the level adjustment. So if you think about how to calculate your 2-hit, right? It's going to be your accuracy for a character times 75 plus whatever your base to hit is. Let's say we have no base to hit, minus the debuff, we haven't been debuffed, minus their defense, let's say they have 25 defense, and then minus their level adjustment, they're 2 levels above me, right? So that would be accuracy times 75, the quantity, right? 75 minus 35, right? Which would be accuracy times 40. So we're fighting, say, a behemoth that turned on its invincibility, which is a 25% defense. Let's imagine. I don't know what it is, but we'll imagine. And he's 2 levels above me, right? So my base to hit with him is 40, right? What I'm calling base to hit really is the amount in the parentheses, right? And then we multiply by the accuracy. So Soul Drain right now has double accuracy, right? So with Soul Drain, it would be 2.0, right, times 40. So we'd have an 80% chance to hit, which is pretty good. But now imagine that we have been somehow floored, right? So we have our all these 2-hit debuffs on us, right? And then we have somebody who's 3 levels above us, and they've got some defense. So let's say 25, and they're, I don't know, 4 levels above us, right? So now we have minus 70. So 5% is the minimum this can be, and 95% is the maximum. But now, if you do the math on that, it's 75, it's accuracy times 75 minus 70, which is accuracy times 5%. Right? And then if you make the accuracy 2, right? So if we've been floored, that means that the best our accuracy can do at 2x is bring us up to a 10% chance to hit. And so if you if you think about how this works with a 2-hit buff, right? So our accuracy again is or our 2-hit is the accuracy, right, times the base to hit plus the 2-hit buff. So let's say we have a 20 buff, right? And then minus whatever penalty. This plus 20 comes in here. So it's 95 minus all these numbers, right? And minus 95 minus 40. So this would be accuracy times 50. And then if our accuracy is 2x, this would be 95, right? Because that's the max. And so when you get that 2-hit buff in here, inside the parentheses, it's very powerful because it can directly offset these penalties. If the accuracy only comes out here, you're multiplying whatever this number is that's already had the penalty subtracted from it. Hard to show on an email, and I haven't put everything in there because, again, I didn't do the math about floors and stuff like that. But this is why to hit buffs that you can auto-apply to yourself are so much more powerful than a to-hit buff that requires you to hit someone. Let's do a soul drain here since we're at the end of the mission, and we won't need it again. Now, our recharge time is pretty good with the bonus that we get from being near enemies. One of the toggles does that. And also we have it from one of our sets. So that's pretty awesome. When we get this recharge down, it'll be better because we can use it more often. But we still have to hit with it. And that is a bit of a disadvantage compared to something like Focus Chi or regular buildup. Let's talk to our contact, who says, well, they got away with the shipment, but at least the armies of Nemesis won't be shipping any more illegal parts through that warehouse. Those shipping logs you found could help us track them down if we can just break the code. Well, let's do the next mission and see if we can break the code. I took the coded ledger you found to a cryptographer named Lisa Colbert. It didn't take her long to, or maybe Colbert, I don't know. It didn't take her long to crack the Nemesis code, but I'm afraid I might have gotten her into some trouble. She just called me in a panic. Yep, she's getting kidnapped by the Nemesis. So, Dark Astoria, let's just do a quick teleport to the mission. And at some point I've got to check because we have 4 of these. We only need 2 more, and it might be today or tomorrow, I think, I will be able to purchase these last 2. One with this character and one with Tiger Strike, although this character is going to need some more influence traded down from one of our other characters, probably Nightmare Lass. And then she'll have both ATOs. And that'll be pretty good. And we got some sets going. And then we can go with the cheaper sets, which are the regular sets. I'm going to have to think about what I want to enhance these powers with, too, because they have so many multiple effects. So things like Siphon Life, I think we could theoretically put something like Preventive Medicine or Doctored Wounds on it, which would, have some really nice buffs, but it wouldn't help us hit, right? And once again, it's a self-heal that works only if we hit, right? As opposed to this one, which happens all the time. Right, so that Siphon Life is great when it hits, right? But you have to hit for it to work. So we missed that guy, you see, so we only got the buff from 2 of them. I don't know if the 2-hit buff depends on the number of guys you hit. Let's take a look at Soul Drain. And it's only, okay, so it's a plus 10% to hit and plus 2% to hit. The details on this are kind of frustrating to read. Right, because you've got so many multiples. Let's see if it looks better in the enhancement window. So my guess is it's 10% base plus 2% for every guy you hit. So you plug that plus 10 into the formula, right? It changes our 2-hit from base of 75 to 85 plus the number of guys we hit. Whereas something like Focus Chi would be just 20% base flat automatic. And there she is. My guess is we're going to have to bring her to her ledger. I don't think we're just going to be able to walk her out, but we'll see. Squad Leader Trevor. That's a really impressive name, buddy. Just Trevor. Okay, so we need to help her. So, is she gonna follow me? She is not. Oh, she is. So Kievar had a great idea that, like an idiot, I never thought of with these guys. And I can't believe how stupid... Okay, she can't keep up. Good, that's what I want. Can't believe how dumb I've been. Kievar made the awesome point. Yeah, they get lost when you are stealthed, which is actually, to a degree, an advantage, because then you can go through and beat everybody up, right? And then come back and get the stupid, annoying NPC, and you don't have to worry about protecting them. Because the ambushes pretty much always come after you. And if you have multiple NPCs, you can just bring them somewhere and make them wait. Like, I can bring her to the elevator and make her wait. And she won't be able to follow me. And she'll just stand there. Now, with this particular mission, I don't know that we need to do that since there's just her. And we have to bring her with us anyway, and I don't think they can hurt her. But, as you can see, since I've demonstrated how to do it, it's a really awesome way to control what the stupid idiot NPCs do. And it never occurred to me, all the times I've complained about how they lose me when they can't see me. This must be an ambush. I don't know why it didn't come to me. And it never occurred to me to use it to my advantage and actually be like, oh good, you can't see me, therefore... Notice I missed this guy again. You see with the soul drain? So the problem is not missing one. The problem is if you miss them all, there goes most of your buff. There's a base buff that you get no matter what, I think, when you run it, and then you get more if more of them hit you, or if you hit more of them. But you don't get the full power of the soul drain if you miss everybody. But if you run it and you triple miss, which we've seen me do on multiple occasions for many other AoEs, so it certainly can happen with Soul Drain as well. I think I'm going to run you to the elevator. And I'm going to turn stealth on. I'm going to leave you here. So she can't find me. Aren't you going to get lost? Come on, get lost. Good. Okay, you can stay right there. That's fine. But, wow, I mean, like, I can't believe I complained about this. How many episodes? Dozens and dozens of episodes. And it never occurred to me to use it to my advantage in something like this so that she stops following me around. Great idea, so thanks for that. By the way, in terms of the accuracy and the way that formula works, that is actually not how they explain the formula to us. I guess it's the way it always worked, but it is not the way they explain the formula to us in closed beta when the formula is being figured out, or right after launch. So originally, let's go way back. Originally, Statesman and the other lead developers did not want to expose the numbers like this stuff up here to the players. They absolutely did not want them exposed to the players because they didn't want the players power gaming, basically. They wanted you to just, okay, this makes my power more accurate, let me put it in here. And they didn't want people kind of obsessing about the numbers. But of course, MMO players obsess about numbers. Lots of us do. And so a number of the players during beta, spearheaded by Arcanaville, who was probably the person on the forums who understood statistics the best, they did some tests right? And they kept track. They made loggers to log the chat, and that told them whether they hit or not. There were no 2-hit rolls. Nobody knew what this was. I think so. I think that what was originally intended to be told to the players was the sort of the verbal word descriptions of what the game does, right? The accuracy enhancer makes you more accurate, makes you hit more, right? More likely to hit. But they didn't want to tell you why, exactly how. And the other thing they exposed to the players, I believe, was that they exposed the fact that there was a ceiling and a floor. I think. I don't even know if they told us that. I think that may have come out in the testing, right? That people were saying, hey, look, I should have a 100% chance to hit and I'm still missing. And they were told, well, there's a floor and there's a cap. So she can keep up with me a little bit with the stealth and then she gets lost. No? Yeah, now she's lost. Okay. So they didn't tell us any of the rest of it, right? They just told us these things make you better. They told us that a DO is twice as good as a trainer, and a trainer is and an SO is twice as good as a DO. They didn't tell us the percents. Arcanaville figured it out, and some others, right? Once they had started figuring the numbers out, and they were trying to calculate it, somebody along the way, and I believe this was maybe confirmed by a developer, maybe it was confirmed to keep us guessing, I don't know, but the original explanation was that all of it was additive, right? They used 75% to hit, and that a single accuracy enhancer that does plus 34% raises you above the cap. And then, so you're capped with a single accuracy SO. That's what we originally were led to believe, assuming the enemy doesn't have any defenses. So it's base plus accuracy. This is what we were told. Plus to hit buffs. Minus defense. Minus to hit debuffs. So I thought it was all additive for years, because that's what they told. That's what we were originally told. Now, what I can't figure out, I can't remember, is whether we were originally told this by one of the developers, or whether it was calculated by Arcanaville incorrectly, or one of the other people. I just don't remember, because it was there was a number of years between when the game launched and when all of the numbers were fully exposed. Because when you see it go miss versus deflected, that was put in there to let you know, because people were complaining about the missing, and they're like, I'm getting these miss streaks. And like, well, it's because the enemy has defense, right? And it's harder to hit them. And so deflected means the defense helped them. You still had your same base to hit, right? Because players were complaining, I don't have a 75% base to hit, that can't possibly be, right? I've put all of these accuracy enhancers, and my powers keep missing. And it was some guy who had turned on invincibility or debuffed them or whatever. So they finally started putting some of those things in, like deflected, because players were very frustrated, and they were complaining that they thought that the game, people were complaining about miss streaks. People were complaining that the game wasn't doing the percentages that we were told. And so one of the reasons they finally exposed all of the numbers to the players was because they got tired of having to keep answering questions about, why am I missing so much? Why are these guys hitting me when I have such high defenses, right? But originally the numbers were not exposed to the players by the company. They were deduced, right? So in other words, somebody would go out and fight white con minions that, as far as we knew, didn't have any 2-hit buffs. And they would taunt them or something and stand there with all their toggles off, no enhancements on any toggles, stand there and let the guy attack them. And somebody else would heal them, right? And they would do this for 100 blows and say, okay, I was hit exactly 50 times. Now I turn this toggle on, or whatever, the defense toggle on, right? And now I do it again 100 times. This time I was hit 40 times. So therefore I have 10% defense. And that's how they figured it out. And then they said, okay, now I'm going to slot a defense enhancer into it, or 6 defense enhancers into it to just see. And then we'll do it again. And now he hits me only 17 times. And so then they figured out how much a DO and an SO and a trainer were. But it was all done by trial and error by the players beta testing the game. Now I got to find out where this glowy is, and then I'll bring her to it. So yeah, most of the numbers were originally figured out, and a lot of what I thought I knew about City of Heroes was not told to us by the developers, but was actually, calculated by problem solving, deductive reasoning, that kind of thing, by the players. So now I have to get upstairs with her somehow. So yeah, originally we did not have this information. And so the original equation that I was told was base to hit plus accuracy plus 2 hit buff minus 2 hit debuff, right? Minus defense minus level, whatever the level difference was. That's what I was originally told, and the entire time I played this game in live, that's what I thought the equation was. And it wasn't until I started playing again on Homecoming, and I got into an argument with one of the other players, and I expressed this, and they were like, no, that's not how it works. The accuracy is out here as a multiplier. And I actually said to them, no, it's not. And they were like, yes, it is, and pointing me to the wiki page. And I was like, oh, didn't know that. I played this game for 3 or 4 years believing the wrong equation. And I don't know whether... So there's sort of 3 possibilities here. I'm never going to be able to get to this thing, am I? There are 3 possibilities here, and I'm not sure which one is true. One is that what I believed was based on mistaken deductive reasoning by players who didn't have access to the code or the actual numbers, and were just, by observation and trial and error trying to figure this out. And through, and I'm not blaming anybody through no fault of their own, because they did an amazing job. Yeah, they calculated the numbers, or they sort of reverse engineered the equation incorrectly, and the developers did not see fit to correct them. That's one possibility. The second possibility is whatever developer told us the formula told it to us incorrectly for whatever reason. They made a mistake, they typoed it, what have you, and then it got propagated throughout, everybody who knew stuff about City of Heroes. The other possibility is maybe it did work that way and they changed it. I think that's the least likely of those. The most likely is that they simply did not see fit to correct us when the players had made a mistake in how it worked, until Castle came along, I think, and started exposing the numbers to us and showing us how it actually works. But that was like after, I think mostly after Jack left, because Jack was incredibly opposed to the players knowing the numbers, because he didn't want us doing that kind of min-maxing. So he very much opposed this sort of thing being exposed to the players. All right, folks, let's make a call to Anton, and then we'll stop for this episode. He says, Lisa's home. Thanks to you, her decryption of that ledger was very interesting. It looks like Nemesis armies have been bringing shipments from Europe for a while. The entry that really worries me is the last one, the prototype. It could be anything. Well, we'll find out what that is in another episode. Until next time, folks, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.